Slaters, in the earlier video, we've learned stanzas 1 and 2 of the poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad. Now, in today's video, let's take up the rest of the poem in detail. Turn to stanza 3. Follow me as I read. What do you make, O ye goldsmiths? Wristlet and anklet and ring. Bells for the feet of blue pigeons, frail as a dragonfly's wing. Girdles of gold for the dancers, scabbards of gold for the king. So we saw in the earlier two stanzas that the poet is walking across in the bazaars of Hyderabad. First, she meets the merchants and she talks to them. She asks them, tries to find out what they're selling. Then she meets the vendors, she meets the maidens, and she also talks to the peddlers. Now the poet moves further and she meets goldsmiths. Who are goldsmiths, Slaters? Yes, a goldsmith is a person who makes ornaments of gold. Yes, gold jewelry. Now she asks the goldsmith what they are making. And what is the answer she gets? Wristlet, that is bracelet kind of a thing. Anklet, what you wear on the feet. And rings. The goldsmith also says that they make bells for the feet of blue pigeons. Now Slaters, in the olden days, you must be aware that people used to send letters and messages with the help of pigeons. So why would they make bells? Because with the bell tinkling, the owner or the person who's receiving the pigeon would be able to identify that the pigeon has actually come, whether to deliver or to receive the message or letter. Now how are these bells? They are frail. Frail means very, very delicate. Let's try and frame sentences with the word frail, Slaters. Porcelain is a frail material, very delicate material. Okay. Those who are frail in health must try and improve their immunity. Those who are weak, those who are delicate, must try and improve their immunity. So how are the bells that are tied to the feet of the blue pigeons? They are frail. And how frail are they? As a dragonfly's wing. You all know dragonflies, right, Slaters? Those insects which look like helicopters, and when it rains, they're all there. They're like grasshoppers only, in the size of a grasshopper, but they're brown in color, and their wings are transparent. Did you get the picture? Yeah, and they're very delicate. So these bells that the goldsmiths make for the feet of the blue pigeons are also very, very delicate, very frail. How frail? As delicate as the wings of a dragonfly. Now what else are they making? They're making girdles of gold for dancers. What are girdles? Girdles are belt-like ornaments worn around the waist. It's like a belt that you wear around the waist. And these are usually made of gold. And also the goldsmith says that they make scabbards of gold for the king. What is a scabbard? A scabbard is a cover for swords or daggers that are usually made of metal or leather. In our previous class, we have discussed what a dagger is. A dagger is a small, pointed, sharp knife. So the cover in which the kings keep the swords or the daggers are called scabbards. You're all able to understand, right? So in this stanza, let's read the stanza once again. What do you make, O ye goldsmiths? Wristlet, anklet, and rings. Bells for the feet of blue pigeons, frail as a dragonfly's wing. Girdles of gold for dancers, scabbards of gold for king. So these are the various things that the goldsmiths are making. What? Wristlets, that is bracelets, anklets, what we wear on the feet, and rings. They're making very, very delicate bells for the blue pigeons which carry messages, and they're making girdles of gold, belts of gold for dancers, and scabbards of gold for the king. Understood, slaters? Let's move on to the next stanza, fourth stanza. What do you cry, O ye fruitmen? Citron, pomegranate and plum. What do you play, O ye musicians? Sitar, sarangi and drum. What do you chant, O ye magicians? Spells for eons to come. Let's look at the new words. What do you mean by the word cry? Does it mean to cry as people cry generally? No. To cry here means to call out. So she's asking, what are you selling? Fruitmen. She's asking the fruitmen what they are selling. So the fruitmen answer citron, pomegranate and plum. Now underline the word citron. Citron is a fruit, a citrus fruit like lemon. Pomegranate you already know, and plum. Then she meets the musicians and she asks them, what are you playing? So they take the names of 3 different instruments. Sitar, sarangi and drums. They are playing these in the market, in the bazaar. Then she meets magicians and she asks them what they are chanting. So what do the magicians tell? The magicians tell her that he or they are chanting spells for many years to come. Understood? Now what is the meaning of the word cry? I told you cry means to call out. Citron is a lemon-like fruit, a citrus fruit. Now what is the meaning of the word chant? The word chant means to continuously repeat a word or a short phrase or sentence. Shall we make a sentence with the word chant? One has to keep chanting the word kabaddi kabaddi while playing the game. Do you keep on saying kabaddi 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 kabaddi? That is called chanting. Understood, slaters? Now another sentence. The supporters sang a victory chant for the cricket team. The supporters sang a victory chant for the cricket team. Let's move on to the next word, spells. What do you mean by spells? Spells are a set of words which are believed to have magical powers. Shall we frame sentences with spells now? The witch cast a spell on the prince, or the spell turned iron into gold. Now there's another new word, eons. Eons is a long period of time. Let's frame sentences with the word eons. Deserts were fertile lands eons ago. That means long time ago. Deserts were also fertile lands. Another sentence. The polar ice caps formed eons ago. That means a long time ago, ice in the polar region was formed. Understood, na slaters? Shall we read the fourth stanza once again? What do you cry, O ye fruitmen? Citron, pomegranate and plum. What do you play, O ye magicians? Sitar, sarangi and drum. What do you chant, O ye magicians? Spells for eons to come. Now, slaters, let's move on to the last stanza of the poem. Alright? Keep reading as I read. What do you weave, O ye flower girls, with tassels of azure and red? Crowns for the brow of a bridegroom, chaplets to garland his bed, sheets of white blossoms to perfume the sleep of the dead. Now, in the last stanza of the poem, the poet is moving further in the bazaar and where she meets the flower girls, and she asks them, what are they doing with azure and red tassels? Now, azure is deep blue and tassels are strands or threads of flowers. So she's asking the flower girls, what are you doing with these strings of flowers of deep blue and red flowers. So what do the flower girls answer? The flower girls say that they're making garlands. You know what are garlands? No, strings of flowers, right? That you wear around your neck. So they say that they are making garlands for the bride and the groom. And also chaplets. Now what is a chaplet? A chaplet is a circular garland, usually called a wreath, W-R-E-A-T-H, wreath, to adorn their bed, to keep on their bed so that they get a nice smell. They also say, that is the flower girls also say, they're making sheets of newly bought white flowers so that they can be used on the dead man's grave. What is the meaning of perfume? Perfume is to give scent or fragrance. So these sheets of white flowers, these spreads of white flowers, blossoms are nothing but flowers. Blossoms means flowers. So blossoms of white flowers will be used on the dead man's grave, on some dead man's grave. Understood? Now let's try and frame sentences. Before that, let's look at the new words. What is the meaning of weave? Weave means to string together, to put together in a string or a thread. Tassels. Tassels, I already told you. Threads or strands of flowers. Azure. Azure is deep blue. It's a color. Brow. Brow here means forehead, the temple region. Chaplet. Chaplet is a circular garland which is usually worn around the head. It is also called a wreath, W-R-E-A-T-H. Let's try and frame sentences with the word chaplet. The bride wore a silver chaplet. Or Ron bought a name chaplet for his dog. What is a garland? Next word, garland. Garland is a string of flowers. You can make a garland with leaves also. Okay. What are sheets? Sheets are huge spreads. What are blossoms? Blossoms are flowers. Try and frame sentences with the word blossom. The tree was full of blossoms during winter. Or the peach tree had very good blossoms this year. Perfume, I already told you, fragrance or scent. Sleep of the dead. That means to be dead. Let's read the fifth stanza once again, Slaters. What do you weave, O ye flower girls, with tassels of azure and red? Crowns for the brow of a bridegroom, chaplets to garland his bed, sheets of white blossoms to perfume the sleep of the dead. Now with that, my dear Slaters, we come to the end of the poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad. And now, here are the questions for all of you. To begin with, the oral questions. Question 1. What are the flower girls selling? What are the flower girls selling? Question 2. Give the meaning of the word chant. Give the meaning of the word chant. Question 3. Frame a sentence with the word spell. Frame a sentence with the word spell. Question 4. What do you mean by a chaplet? What do you mean by a chaplet? Question 5. What are the musical instruments mentioned in the poem? What are the musical instruments mentioned in the poem? Moving on to the written questions now. First question. What is meant by frail as a dragonfly's wing? What is meant by frail as a dragonfly's wing? Question 2. Who is the speaker in the poem and where is the poem happening? Who is the speaker in the poem and where is the poem happening? Question 3. What all things do the goldsmiths make? What all things do the goldsmiths make? Question 4. Frame a sentence with the word blossom. frame a sentence with the word blossom. And finally, question 5. Why do the flower girls need white flowers? Why do the flower girls need white flowers? That, my dear Slaters, was all about the poem In the Bazaars of Hyderabad. I will see you soon with another interesting lesson in English language. Until then, happy learning, Slaters.